everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing here a deck profile for my Sacred Beast deck, but this time it's going to be focusing on the Raviel deck here. So with that being said, let's just get started, and that way I can actually explain my choices. So to begin with monsters, we're going to be playing here 2 copies of my Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Shimmering Scraper. This is definitely a very different take on the deck, of course, which is why I'm playing 2 copies of it. So you want to focus on Raviel. As a result, having the extra copy definitely helps. Now I am actually playing here an Allure of Darkness in this deck, so it makes sense that to add in a second copy of this is an additional dark target as well. So even though it can recover from the hand, sometimes you might want to use it as fodder to get rid of when you're actually playing something like Allure of Darkness. But of course the main one we want to play is the original Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, 3 copies of it because it is the main focus, of course. This is definitely a really amazing card. It does a lot for the actual deck itself, being that it's also a dark target for Allure of Darkness, making it very versatile. However, that doesn't mean I'm not playing the other Sacred Beast. I am still going to be playing 1 copy of Hamon and 1 Uriah because we could still definitely combo off quite well here with a few different plays with the Hamon and Uriah, and they just add as a level 10 monster anyway. So even though I have Exodius in the deck, or at least even though I'm not focusing on everything else, the Exodius that I have will actually go with the Hamon and Uriah to potentially go for a rank 10. Of course, we're still playing here 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast, and we're still playing 3 copies of our Chaos Summoning Beast. Both really amazing cards, definitely quite useful in the deck, and definitely quite essential for us to actually maximize at 3 copies, just to ensure that we can draw into these cards and set off our plays. I'm also going to be playing here 2 copies of the Dark Summoning Beast, just a really great card. But I am still playing here the 1 copy of Chaos Core. Now Chaos Core is a very interesting case. It requires you to have your Uriah and Hamon, which is why I'm playing them. So if you actually wanted to take out Chaos Core, the Uriah and the Hamon, you would have 3 additional spaces for your deck, allowing you to add in potentially a hand trap like Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler. That could actually work out for the deck itself, you know, it's definitely quite amazing. Or even the Cyframe engine as well, that would be very nice. But otherwise the Chaos Core is something that I still want to incorporate into this deck. It definitely still works out, and I have actually removed a risk that would make Chaos Core a bit more of a viable option in this particular variant. So moving on here, we're obviously playing 2 copies of Exodius, definitely really amazing card, definitely just a great card to help you go into your rank 10s. So with that being said, 2 copies is still the best way to go. But I am actually adding in here 2 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is definitely a fantastic card. It goes into a lot of different things as well because of the fact that your Raviel can easily just get over the Nibiru anyway. It's a disruption, but at the same time it forces your opponents to spend a negate if they actually have one. So Nibiru is definitely fantastic. Even then, if they don't have any negates, you could actually do it early on in their turn to actually slow them down. So that would be fantastic. Of course, it's under the condition that your opponent is actually going first. So with that being said, Nibiru is more of a second turn card, but that's okay because your deck can definitely do well in turn 2 as well. Since this is a Raviel deck, you're focusing on a bit more of an OTK kind of playstyle here. However, moving on to spells now, we are definitely playing 3 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates. Absolutely amazing card, still just does a lot of work for the deck here with 3 different effects, and as a result here, 3 copies of this is definitely fantastic. Another must-have in the deck is 2 copies of Fallen Paradise. Actually, to be honest, I might actually include this as well alongside it, but we are also playing here technically a 3rd copy, but that's just 1 copy of Terraforming because I wanted to go for a bit of consistency here. Even though you could search out the Fallen Paradise via the Chaos Summoning Beast, it's not necessarily the fastest method because sometimes you still want to use it for some other plays as well, because once you banish off your Chaos Summoning Beast from your graveyard, you pretty much lose an additional fodder just in case you want to use Opening of the Spirit Gates to bring back your Chaos Summoning Beast. But of course, with Chaos Core in the deck, it's no surprise that we are playing here the Dimension Fusion Destruction. Definitely still a viable card. One copy is more than you actually need, so with that being said, that's what we're going to keep it at. Of course, for draw power, we are playing here 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, an absolutely terrific card, but the thing is this, I've actually removed Pot of Desires. So as I said, there was a risk of playing only one Chaos Core, one Hamon, one Uriah, and one of the Dimension Destruction Fusions, because if you even lost one of them, the whole combo breaks apart. As a result, I didn't want to focus on playing for draw power in this case, because we could access so many cards anyway through multiple variations of searching. Either it's Dark Beckoning Beast or Opening of the Spirit Gates. There is plenty of options for you to go to. Even the Allure of Darkness themselves will be a great help, but to add in the Pot of Desires was a bit unnecessary, and it just added more risk to the actual deck itself. So by removing that, I could adjust the deck into a slightly different variation of playstyle. But I am still playing here 2 copies of Super Poly, definitely a terrific card here. This is definitely a fantastic card for the fact that Super Poly can just really disrupt your opponent in the sense that they can't even respond to you. So because of that, I'm playing 2 copies. There's no need to go for 3 copies because technically you're going to force yourself to discard, but I think Super Poly works well with this deck because you have the Shimmering Scraper, which will always activate itself as fodder for the Super Poly, and when you have your weaker monster on the field like Chaos Summoning Beast or Dark Beckoning Beast, you can just tribute those monsters and add your Shimmering Scraper back to your hand, which again just adds an additional fodder for you to discard via Super Poly's effect. For a bit of interesting small text, we are playing here Called by the Grave, Instant Fusion, 1-for-1, and Mind Control. They are definitely fantastic cards for the deck itself. Just all of them work so well. And finally for traps, we're playing here 3 copies of Awakening and 1 copy of Skill Drain, pretty much the negates of the deck. You're easily going to bring out Raviel or at least any of the other Sacred Beasts, so once you do, the Awakening is going to be top tier and the Skill Drain is definitely going to screw with your opponents a lot. However, moving on to the extra deck, we're going to be playing here both copies of the Armor Tiles. Definitely very fantastic. Just 1 copy because obviously we're only playing the 1 Chaos Core anyway, so you choose which one is more appropriate for your situation. I'm also going to be playing here the Millennium Eyes, of course, a fantastic card because that's our instant fusion target. We also have here Starving Venom as a Super Poly target. Other Super Poly targets such as Mud Dragon and the Armaduke is definitely also a viable option, but instant fusion can also go for your Mud Dragon here so that you could go for potential link plays. So don't hold yourself back just because it's a potential Super Poly target. It has a lot of varieties of plays that you could actually offer with this particular card here. As for links, we're playing here the 1 copy of Relinquish Anima, we're playing here Al Mirage because it goes for the Chaos Core combo. Pentastag, also a fantastic card. Pentastag is just a great card to allow for piercing damage, so absolutely fantastic. But of course, the Anaconda is definitely fantastic. I want to play with this card as much as possible because I have this terrible gut feeling that it's going to get hit by the next ban list. And finally, we're playing here the One Nightmare Phoenix, just a great utility card. I wouldn't mind actually upgrading this to a collector's rare, just hopefully it's not too expensive, but yeah, it's a really good card, and at 1 copy it does plenty for the deck. And finally, for some Xyz monsters, we're going to be going with the trains here. Definitely all fantastic, all great options, so don't hold yourself back. Oh, and I almost forgot, here's the tokens as well. Not like you're going to go into them. I might build a separate build here of this deck where I actually do focus on the tokens, but for the time being there's no need for that, so that's pretty much it. We might be using the Phantasmal token because of the fact that we have Raviel in the deck, the original one, so that could be interesting, but this deck is definitely very different, so don't assume that it's the same thing as the previous decks. I will be showing here a test stand video in the next one, of course, so that you guys could actually get a good grasp of how this deck might actually work out. And this is definitely something I see to be quite different. Yes, there are a few similar plays. For example, if you have Beckoning Beast and if you have Chaos Summoning Beast, you could still do those basic combos for the deck, but because you're now centralized around Raviel, you definitely have to adjust your plays into a slightly different variation. However, if you enjoyed this deck profile, definitely drop a like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.